And here is Mark Teixeira, a three-time All-Star, winner of multiple Gold Gloves and Silver Sluggers, and of course a world champion over his 14-year Major League career with the Rangers, Braves, the Angels, and Yankees. Mark, thanks for the time.
Good to be here.
Mark, for so many of the top high school players in the country, I mean, these guys are headed towards some real life-changing stretches. They'll play the last games of their high school careers. They'll graduate. Many are going to hear their names in the upcoming MLB draft. You've been there. You were taken in the 9th round by the Red Sox in '98. Then, of course, the college career that led you to be taken 5th overall out of Georgia Tech in '01. What do you remember about the anxiousness and the nervousness of where so many of these high school kids are at right now?
I think it's especially hard in high school because, first of all, you're so young. You're 17 or 18 years old, and you know that you have options. Most of these kids have scholarships to great college programs, and you don't really know if you want to start playing professionally or you want to go to college. And a lot depends on where you're drafted, what team you're drafted, what your signing bonus is going to be. So there is, just a ton of anxiety and uncertainty around what the future holds. And it was no different for me. I was expected to go the top 15 picks in 1998 when I was a senior in high school. And, some circumstances led to me dropping to the 9th round. And so it was an easy decision for me in the end. But, the 72 hours from the time that the Red Sox, first contacted me to draft day was definitely a tough time.
Yeah, and obviously there's a little bit of discrepancy there. Your story and what Dan Duquette said about them, offering you potential first round money in the 9th round, but obviously things play out the way they do. Is there just some was that an eye-opening experience for you in terms of just this is the nature and the business of baseball and how that played out?
Absolutely. Yeah, and it actually made me. I'm glad it happened. Because first of all, I went to Georgia Tech and had the best time of my career, and it really put me on a path to being a really good major leaguer for a long time, and I think Georgia Tech really helped with that. But when you get offered a really big signing bonus and turn it down, and then the team that offers you that bonus before the draft goes and calls everybody and says that you're not going to sign. That's tough. And it just makes you realize the business, and when the Red Sox did end up calling me in the 9th round after no one else would take me because of what they told everybody, it was like, okay, this is the business of baseball. And I think every high school player needs to understand that your family might love you and your high school coach and teammates, they love you and everything's all, happy and sunshine and rainbows. As soon as you become a professional, it's a business. And I learned that out really quick. And again, I was so happy that I went to Georgia Tech, but it was an eye-opening experience for me.
Is that something that you wish maybe more players knew going into that situation?
Yes, I absolutely would want to tell high school players and college players, whoever's going into the draft, understand that you're not special. There are hundreds of players just like you, around your age, great baseball players that these teams are looking at. And there is a very fine line between a first rounder and a 3rd rounder, between a 3rd rounder and a 10th rounder. And so the business is going to take over, and a lot of it's going to be, where do you fit in to the organization's plans, and how much money can they give you? And, what do you want to do the next 3 years of your life? Do you want to ride buses in the minor leagues? Or do you want to play college baseball? That's something that you really have to understand. It is a business decision. And as much as we all play the game for the love of the game, once you become a professional, the expectations are a little bit different. And you better understand what you're getting yourself into.
You've mentioned leverage. I mean, certainly that was something that you had coming out of high school. I mean, you had it still coming out of Georgia Tech as a junior, but what do you tell a high school player who's in that same situation? Because obviously they've got the college scholarship, most of them do, hanging there. In terms of, weighing chasing a dream, but then obviously, having that ability to go to college and play as well.
Yeah, so the first thing I would say is that if you're going to make it into the major leagues, if you're going to have a long career, it doesn't matter if you're at a high school or college. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. What could happen in college is, you get hurt or you don't play as well, and you end up really falling and maybe starting in the lower minor leagues and never really getting a chance. But if you were going to excel anyway, whether it was those 3 years of minor league baseball, if you were going to excel in college as well. So your trajectory starts at 18 and it ends. I was a 22-year-old rookie, right? And that's early. Some kids, they're rookies at 25, 26 years old. So it's really about understanding where you are now, where you want to be in 3 years, where you want to be in 5 years. And in my mind, I knew that, hey, when I'm 21, I'll be really close to the major leagues. If I have the career that I think that I'm going to have at Georgia Tech, and that's what ended up happening. I only spent 1 year in the minor leagues, and I would tell kids the minor leagues aren't a lot of fun. You go from whether it's a high school situation where you're big man on campus or a college situation where you're a big man on campus, the coaches, the family, your teammates, it's all a nice community. You go to the minor leagues and you meet 24 people that you've never met before, and it's cutthroat. So understand, what your goals are, understand what you want to do. If you, want nothing other than playing baseball, go play baseball, sign out of high school, and go start your career. But if you have second thoughts, if you think that you might want to spend a couple more years on a college campus, if you want to get your education, the reason I went to Georgia Tech is I never knew I was going to make it. I had the confidence to make it. I felt like if I played well, I was going to make it. But you never know what's in store. And I wanted that degree in my back pocket. So if that's important to you as well, you need to put that into the equation.
Yeah, I'm not asking you to obviously lobby one way or the other here, but how much more just, maturity wise were you prepared for things because you had that college experience of being on your own and kind of understanding that side of it?
Yeah, I grew up a ton. And quite frankly, in my first 4 or 5 years in the big leagues, I was immature. You're still, early 20s, mid 20s. There's a lot of life that you have to understand and figure out. And so, what I would tell kids is every situation is different. But if you're like me, if you're somebody that values education, if you're somebody that understands the long game, I'm playing the long game here, I would tell you to go to college. Now, if you're someone that only wants to play baseball and is not interested in going to school, college is hard. Take computer science at Georgia Tech and tell me how much fun that is, right? But there's trade-offs to both sides of it. I would also say it's different for pitchers and position players. If a pitcher gets offered a huge contract, a life-changing contract out of high school, probably take it, because there's only so many innings you have in that shoulder or elbow. There's only so many years you have in that arm. And as a position player, you can weather injuries a little bit better and play that long game. Whereas a pitcher, if you feel like you want to go out and play right away and get a nice signing bonus, go have fun and sign that professional contract.
Yeah, I mean, you guys obviously had that in the 2001 draft. You go 5, and then right before you was Gavin Floyd, your high school teammate, coming out of high school. So you got that experience right there of a guy that, had that signing bonus.
Yeah, that was such a cool. Yeah, I was saying that was such a cool experience. We actually didn't play together. I was a senior when he was a freshman, but being able to I played with his older brother, and I are really good friends, Michael Floyd, who had a great college career, played a couple years in the Phillies organization. But, Gavin was in a completely different situation than me. A pitcher, 4th pick overall, big signing bonus, life-changing money. And, he made the right decision for him to go out of high school. And, because of my situation and wanting to go to college and being a position player, getting offered less than Gavin got. When I was in high school, I was offered 1.5, and I'm not sure what Gavin signed for, but I know it was a lot more than that. And so it was probably an easy decision for him.
When you were drafted, obviously there were scouts and there were cross-checkers. I mean, those still exist, but, think about now with the advent of so many measurables that you have. I mean, certainly, there's a better understanding of who these prospects are before they even get drafted. But at the same time, all that TrackMan, Rapsodo data, that's available to the players too. As someone who, was drafted obviously before this took off, but ended their playing career at the end of the StatCast era, how much more do you think the players are empowered now than they were when you were in this situation?
They definitely are. I think that cuts both ways. I mean, sometimes you can get so wrapped up in the numbers, and at the end of the day, baseball is a mental game. I've always said, if you have the physical ability, if you're an elite physical talent, then the mind takes over. If you're not elite physically, if you can't hit a baseball, I can't teach you how to hit a baseball. If you throw 82, it's going to be really hard for me to teach you how to throw 96. But if you do have that ability, if you can hit, if you can throw hard and you can spin it, then the mind takes over. And that's where, I think the analytics and some of the StatCast stuff, or spin rate and miles per hour off the bat, all that type of stuff, it doesn't necessarily help you swing at good pitches with man on second and third and the game on the line, right? It doesn't help you get over a slump. I tell kids or anybody that'll listen, you're going to have a slump. You're going to have periods of failure. It's not about if you fail, it's when you fail and how short that slump can be. And so I think that's maybe where kids rely, or young players rely on numbers and analytics too much, because you might be worried about your spin rate as a pitcher, but it's all in your head. You might be worried about, my launch angle's bad, or my miles per hour off the bat, my velocity off the bat is dropping. What can I, physically do to get that back? A lot of times it's up here. And so I want to make sure kids understand that the mental game of baseball is huge.
Yeah, it's interesting because, a lot of times, and I'm sure you experience this in the high school level, there's a certain amount of times where guys just don't want to pitch to you. I've had, Tom Batista, who was a cross-checker who signed Freddie Freeman for the Braves. He's actually, Christian Yelich's stepfather. So he said that he's gone out and tried to see, he went to go check out Mike Trout, and he watched him for 3 games and they just wouldn't pitch to him. So it's like, sometimes those numbers can be there as kind of that, end point, but if you can't get eyes on these kids and actually do something, I mean, that makes it even harder for these scouts and cross checkers.
No doubt, but what I would say is that in the end, everyone understands talent. I mean, these scouts, they're baseball lifers. They understand it. And at a certain point in time, you're going to go, I got walked a ton in high school. I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland, and I had plenty of games where I was 0 for 0 with 4 walks, or maybe 1 for 1 with 3 walks. But you go to showcases. You play on these elite teams or these traveling teams in the summer, and when you have a guy hitting behind you that's going to go play at Virginia, and a guy hitting in front of you that's going to play at Wake Forest, whatever. At a certain point, the pitcher does have to throw to you. So I just tell those guys, be patient, and eventually you're gonna get something to hit.
Yeah, talent always wins out one way or the other. I have to ask, I know you had returned to Georgia Tech to finish your degree, sitting 1 year shy when you were drafted. Are you still closing in on graduation?
I'm graduating on Saturday.
Well,
yes.
Congratulations. That's fantastic.
It's super cool. Georgia Tech is a special place for me and my family. I met my wife there, and it's just, Atlanta's been a second home of mine, since I was 18 years old, and coming back to get my degree has been a really neat experience. It's been challenging, it's been frustrating, but super rewarding. And I'll walk at graduation on Saturday. I got my family coming in town, and we're gonna have a nice party afterwards, and we're gonna enjoy it.
What's the degree in?
Business. Yeah, it's what I started. So I was 41 hours short. So I took 3 semesters and have really enjoyed it.
That's fantastic. Why did you feel it was so important for you to go back and finish that up?
Lots of reasons. Again, Georgia Tech is really a part of who I am, a huge part of my life and my family's life. And it was something that I didn't finish, and there was always that, when can I get it done, or will there ever be a chance? And COVID actually allowed for some online learning and some remote learning. So it's kind of a now or never type situation where I didn't have to be on campus 24/7 and finish my degree. And I was able to do a lot online, and I'm in Atlanta every month or so, and in class and doing my tests and projects, all that kind of stuff. So just important to me, and just having that Georgia Tech graduation, having the degree, having the diploma. I picked out my regalia yesterday, so I put on my cap and gown and everything, and it's pretty cool.
Well, you got to let us know what the launch angle is, though, when you throw the cap up in the air. So that's what
I'll do my best. I'll get back to you on that one, Corey.
Awesome. Well, he is Mark Teixeira. Mark, thank you so much, man. Enjoy graduation. Congratulations.
Thank you, Corey.